No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong. They were made by stupid people.
Donald Trump's UN speech. All right. This thing was a banger, man. I got to admit, there are certain days where the president really comes through for me and calls it out like he sees it, right? And that was his UN speech. So I got a couple clips in there, Jordy. Let's play the first one, which is about the climate change piece right there, and immigration.
But we're not letting this happen in America. In 1982, the executive director of the United Nations Environmental Program predicted that by the year 2000, climate change would cause a global catastrophe. He said that it will be irreversible, as any nuclear holocaust would be. This is what they said at the United Nations. What happened? Here we are. Another UN official stated in 1989 that within a decade, entire nations could be wiped off the map by global warming. Not happening. You know, it used to be global cooling. If you look back years ago in the 1920s and the 1930s, they said, global cooling will kill the world. We have to do something. Then they said global warming will kill the world, but then it started getting cooler. So now they could just call it climate change, because that way they can't miss. It's climate change. Because if it goes higher or lower, whatever the hell happens, there's climate change. It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. Climate change, no matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong. They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And if you don't stop people that you've never seen before, that you have nothing in common with, your country is going to fail. I'm the president of the United States, but I worry about Europe. I love Europe. I love the people of Europe. And I hate to see it being devastated by energy and immigration. This double-tailed monster destroys everything in its wake, and they cannot let that happen any longer. You're doing it because you want to be nice. You want to be politically correct, and you're destroying your heritage.
Now, that, if you don't hear that, you're sitting in there, you're part of the European Union, man, and you're part of the UN and the whole crazies behind mass immigration. You don't hear that and feel like you get kicked in the teeth, then I don't even know what it is, right? And I think it's really fascinating to me that they still are reacting to this in these terms. I mean, he quotes, the fact that they've been saying, all right, it used to be global. We're going into an ice age, and then we're going into freeze. Then it's going to be too hot. And then it's just climate change, a complete and utter scam to gain power against us around the world, and particularly the United States. And then this mass immigration, and the UN is directly responsible. The World Bank, the UN, other NGOs like HIAS, all these groups that have actively out there going to these countries, arranging for them to come in and flood these places, to where now you have a real existential point that local homegrown English people are going to have to face. Local homegrown French people are going to have to face. And you saw there was chaos in the streets last week or the week before in France. You're going to see this continue to build. It's just not going to slow down, because you can't bring in millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people who aren't going to assimilate into your culture and society and not have a fight. It's just the way it is. And then the other aspect is, him calling out the hypocrisy for what it is. That's what I love.